I'm just going to start off by saying that I'm not going to start off with the word rebellion, because we're not rebelling. We're doing what's right.
Yes.
Every single person here who's a human being,
Yes.
every single man or woman who is here, who is a living entity, okay, we are God's people.
Yes.
Every single police officer that's here to try and make a difference, understand that we're here for you too.
That's right.
Every single person that's here, you need to comprehend that we're doing this for a bigger cause. We're doing this because it's the right thing to do. We're not here to protest. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not here to protest. I'm here to ask questions and have them answered. We are here to ask questions and have them answered because things don't make sense.
Yes.
Because if we get this wrong, it's not complaining to someone at the top because they're not treating us properly. It's people could die.
People are dying.
People could start getting really, really sick.
People are killing themselves.
Rights will be taken away and they'll never, ever come back the way they were. This is for all the law enforcement people out there. Understand that we started speaking up for you guys too, because you have families. And you don't agree with what's going on either. And you don't understand what the government's doing at the moment because it doesn't make sense.
Nothing makes sense.
How can you say a virus is highly contagious and deadly, but in a period of 4 months or however long this thing's been around for, it's killed 95 people? Do I need to drop one more fact than that for you to think that there's something deceitful going on?
Wake up, people! Wake up!
95 people, 6,800 hospitalizations, 5,800 recoveries. And this is a life-threatening pandemic that we're losing our rights for? Really?
Not acceptable.
I'm not here as an advocate. I'm not here to incite fear and anger. I'm here in an attitude of love because I care about people, and we actually care about people. We have nothing to gain from this whatsoever. No, I don't need stats.
We have lost our jobs!
Get the stats. Good on you.
So I'm going to run some stats by you guys, because people like facts. 10,670,908 deaths from abortion. 2,807,806 deaths from starvation. 2,061,853 deaths from cancer. 1,254,997 deaths from smoking. Yet they're still taxing them. They still tax cigarettes.
Hypocrite! Money hungry!
And listen, I'm not here to incite anger. We're here with an attitude of love, or don't be here at all. There's enough hate in the world.
Yeah.
296,209 deaths from suicide. 246,250 deaths from malaria. These are worldwide facts. 122,062 deaths from seasonal flu. A year. 46,491 deaths from coronavirus.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
I'm not asking you to look at this group and support what we're doing. I'm asking you to ask yourself the question, because the answers that they're giving us don't make sense.
Yes.
The government wants to track you for what? Because 95 people died? For an app that doesn't even work? That doesn't even make sense?
Different reasons, that's why.
Because there are ulterior motives.
Absolutely.
There are scientists all across the world that have been fighting the fact that these 5G towers could be possibly dangerous. Possibly, even if there was a 5% chance of them being dangerous, they're going to be everywhere.
Where's the research?
On every second street lamp there's going to be one of these things.
300 were arrested.
Every
while
house
we're
is going to
in
be one of these
lockdown,
things.
Just in the CBD.
Now understand, the 4G towers were dangerous, but they were quite big and they were far away from houses. They didn't put them every 150 metres. It's a different type of technology. And if you don't think something like that can hurt you, go and ask yourself how a microwave works. It works exactly the same way.
Same frequency.
Right? Microwaves. So why am I standing in front of you guys? Because someone had to say something. Someone had to stand up for the fact that we're getting lied to. Someone had to stand up for the fact that we're getting lied to.
We want answers. Oi, peaceful protests.
Right? Someone had to stand up for the fact that we're being lied to. Guys, listen. Everyone is here, listen. Guys, we're here with an attitude of love.
Hurry up.
Guys, everyone listen to me. We're here with an attitude of love.
Don't be distracted by the infiltrators.
We're here with an attitude of love. We're not here to spread hatred. We're not here to incite fear. We're here to ask questions as concerned human beings. Because nothing the government's doing at the moment makes sense. Absolutely nothing. Right? Nothing, your lockdown laws don't make sense.
Don't go there, don't go there. Because this is organized by the communists, by the government.
What is that? Hey, what is it?
People don't be distracted by what's going on. That's a deliberate attempt to disrupt the gatherings.
Richard Carlin, can we get Richard Carlin up here, please?
Setup going on.
Richard Carlin.
Focusing on a peaceful protest
Okay.
and disregard that stuff down there.
People, I asked my local member of the parliament if there was some kind of research done, what will happen if they make a lockdown? What effect that's going to be on the health, on the people of health, health of the people? And guess what? There was no research. One man made the call because he thought that would be the best way. Now, every day, hundreds if not thousands people are dying because they worry to go to hospital for health checks. Because they worry, they have a pain in the chest, they may have a heart attack, but they're not going to hospital because they worry about the coronavirus. So many people are going into some kind of, problems with the drugs, alcohol, gambling, mental problems, so many suicides. This is just ridiculous, and this government keeps going with this, and it's telling us that they're doing us because they want to save their lives. In fact, they're killing lots of people every day. This is just ridiculous. We have to stop that.
Freedom of choice.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to quickly finish with something. You have to understand that, when all this started 8 or 9 weeks ago, whenever I decided to, start speaking out, I did it for one reason. Because police, government officials, everyone standing in front of us understand that we're all in the same boat. We are all just at risk of this tyrannical government's regime. All right. We are all just as at risk of, having our rights stripped away one by one. We can't keep going like this. We saw what happened last time. Governments were allowed to control their people to the point that they were put on trains and led to the slaughter. So if you don't think that could happen here, just go and have a look through the pages of history, and history will be bound to repeat itself.
FEMA camps!
There's one thing you have to understand. At the end of the day, we're all human. We all have hearts, and at the end of the day, you've got to do the right thing. Guys in blue, do the right thing, man. Choose the right side, because this time, I'm sorry, I still respect everything you're doing, because you're doing your job. But at the end of the day, do the right thing.
Freedom of choice.
Richard Cullen is going to give us information on 5G. He has his PhD in electrical engineering. Please, Richard.
In World War II,
A Nazi engineer invented a phased array antenna for a radar. If you watch Saving Private Ryan, you can see it. It was called the Mammoth. People got sick from that in World War II. That engineer was taken to America under Project Paperclip, and he worked until his death in California in the sunshine working for NASA. Phased array antenna technology is what is in 5G. You think this shit isn't going to hurt you? You think this shit isn't going to hurt your kids? I got news for you. This is not even tested for safety yet. The safety tests don't start until later this year. It goes for 3 years. We won't know the safety results for 3 more years. And yet, you see that company over there? That ivory tower with the big T on it?
Telstra.
You know who sits up there at the top?
Telstra.
The people that are rolling out this technology right now and are paying the Chief Medical Officer of Australia to tell you, what is it?
It's safe.
It's safe. Do you know how much evidence they have to say that it's safe? They have got tests. They did tests. They've got tests. They had engineers in a flat in Brisbane, and they beamed into that flat and they said it's safe because we're still here to tell the tale. That's as safe as it gets. It's never been shown to be safe. It's also never been shown to be harmful because it's never been tested. It's never been tested, but we have our Panzer. Our Panzer are a Commonwealth organisation who are set up to protect your health and well-being. The health and well-being of Australians and the health and well-being of the environment. But wait a second, has anyone got a copy of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia? Because I don't believe that the Commonwealth of Australia has any right to do anything about health whatsoever. Our Panzer has no right to exist. Here we are. Well, that's the wrong one, mate. That's got a kangaroo and an emu on the front. That's the wrong one. I'm a subject of the Queen. I do not consent to this 5G. You take it away. I do not consent. Our Panzer, get rid of it. It's irrelevant. Get rid of 5G and tell Telstra where to go. I don't want my kids used as a human experiment. I do not consent.
I do not consent! I do not consent! No consent!
No consent!
No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent! No consent!
We got Paulie here from the common law courts to give a bit of a talk.
Go, Paulie!
G'day, I haven't used one of these before, so my apologies if it doesn't come through clearly. I was a builder all my life and retired, and have put my energies for the last 9.5 years into investigating what is the real jurisdiction that we as members of the Australian community exist under, and found, might I say, a plethora of unjust pieces of legislation that we've been told are in fact law, spelt L-A-W. Now, if you take the time to research, and you don't need to go down the path that I've spent for 9.5 years, because you can shortcut it by going to people who've done greater research than me. One of those is particularly a book called Australia, the Concealed Colony, C-O-L-O-N-Y, because it clearly defines us as a self-governing colony of the UK, and I won't go into the technicalities, but I'm simply wanting to say to you today that although this might look an effective demonstration of our opposition to the practices that the conglomerate of corporations acting as a cartel and calling themselves government, whereas in fact they are simply an administrative body of the powers that be behind this quasi-government, then you'll begin to realise that the only way to defeat them is using their own quasi-laws, their administrative pieces of legislation against them. So I'm suggesting that there's lots of Zoom platforms that you can get on to get this information. You need to go away and start realising that paperwork will win this, and I'm going to call it Third World War, that we are currently beginning to step into. It is not a war that you would normally define as a war, because it is a war that exists on paper, with them being the cartel of corporations that call themselves government, stepping outside of the de jure laws and creating their own set of administrative rules. This is why when you ask yourself, what is the rule that is stopping me standing 1.5 metres closer to a person, you'll find it has no basis in law. And I'm just going to leave you with that teaser. So common law courts, if you know nothing about them, are courts which exist with a grand jury of 23, not 12. They are coming back. They used to exist. The last one, I believe, was held in Victoria in 1968. And I should have been more aware. I was a 20-year-old. But yeah, my involvement's really staunch, and I suggest you start getting involved with people who put you on the right paperwork trail. Thank you.
Well, while we're talking about common law grand jury, we have some documents here. If you want to co-join Brian Shaw's application for a grand jury trial for Rob Hulls, who not only took the oath of allegiance out, he also removed the right of grand jury and misled the Parliament after he was charged so he could avoid prosecution. There's still a file opened up in the court prior to him removing the right to grand jury, and we got documents here if you want to just put your name on it, because we're going to file it again, and they can't, the more people that file it, we have copies. We already did this 2 months ago up in Lancaster, Northern Victoria, where you only have to put your name on it. It's got the filing date prior to him removing the right of grand jury. Now that is complicit fraud. He misled the Parliament. He misled the Parliament at the time. They were all complicit when they took the oath of allegiance out. Now the police swear an oath to serve her sovereign lady the Queen. I'm going to stipulate this point, and I'll be off in a minute. As a result, when they allowed the Parliament, i.e. Rob Hulls Attorney General, and every subsequent Attorney General that's concealing it, they contributed it. They have committed treason by not holding their oath. So when they as Crown officers, when they as Crown officers prosecute matters in a court that removed the Queen, that is fraud. Understand, no court judgment decision since the year 2000 is valid as a result of that technicality. That's why no fine can be prosecuted successfully, and no fines can be prosecuted when they're only a directive. They're not valid law. They haven't been put up to public scrutiny or parliamentary scrutiny, but they don't have the authority to do it since that time.
Foreign corporation!
Foreign corporation! Government is definitely corporation. Here is Sol. Sol is an amazing man and has a lot to inform people of.
Thanks. This is the Great Australian Rebellion.
We do not consent!
The Australian government no longer represents people. The Australian government is now a corporation with international corporate clients. The agenda of this government is funded and controlled by international corporate clients for the benefit of these clients and not for us, the Australian people. The Australian government is blindly following the mainland Chinese dictatorship and terrorising the people of Australia with a totally false panicdemic based on corporate lies. The Australian government dictatorship has destroyed our economy, is depriving us of our human and legal rights, terrorising us with unfounded shock, fear and panic, and is creating universal suffering for all Australians, destroying our businesses, our assets, our lives and our families.
And future.
This is treason.
Treason, the T word.
40,000 Australians have died since the start of February this year, 750 of flu. Have you heard of these Australians that have died? No, nada, nix. Has the Australian economy been shut down because of the death of these 40,000 Australians? Or even for the 750 who've died of flu? No. What is blasted at us 24/7 is a tiny, tiny, minuscule few of these unfortunate old age deaths, which are part of the 40,000 anyway, who have comorbidity issues apart from old age, who are signed by an engineered false positive RT-PCR test to a totally unproven flu-like disease, COVID-19, which cannot even pass Koch's postulates, the gold standard of infectious disease proof. Listen to this. Recently, the president of Tanzania has received back COVID positive tests for pawpaws, goats, birds.
Get fucked.
It's estimated that 3,000 Australians will commit suicide caused by this shocking Australian government terror and treason campaign against us, the Australian people. They tell us we're in a pandemic. Pandemics are defined by huge numbers of people getting seriously ill and dying. Where is this pandemic? Nowhere! Now, the Australian government's international pharmaceutical and corporate buddies, whose only goal is monetary profit, have taken over the World Health Organization, which has become the world big pharma department of vaccine marketing and distribution. Their major goal is to push poisonous, untested vaccines to the entire world population at huge profit. And this whole panicdemic has been designed to gain total control of the world's people.
The media corporations are the virus. Spreading it.
Vaccines have failed. Herd immunity of vaccines is a lie. Vaccines are poisonous. They have never been safety tested. Australians are now sicker than we have ever been. Autism is skyrocketing. It's estimated by 2025, 1 in 2 children in Australia will be autistic. This will cause the end of the Australian nation. 4,000 innocent Australian babies, children and adults have been killed directly from injecting vaccines. 1.5 million innocent Australian babies, children and adults have been maimed directly from injecting vaccines. There are literally now thousands of scientific studies that show that unvaccinated children and adults are far more healthy than vaccinated children and adults who've been systematically poisoned by vaccines. Vaccines contain the most toxic foreign and man-made substances delivered directly into our bloodstream, bypassing all our natural immune defense systems. Vaccines include contaminants and DNA, both male and female, from mice, pigs, dead cancerous human fetuses, cows, chickens, dogs, monkeys and worms.
Mercury, aluminium.
They contain live and dead viruses and bacteria injected directly into our bloodstream.
Mercury.
Vaccines contain aluminium,
Mercury.
which is now scientifically proven directly to cause autism. Vaccines contain many other poisons, including formaldehyde, detergent, antifreeze, yeast, preservatives, and metals. Now, I'm going to read you a list. Would you allow something like this to be injected into your body or the body of your children, this will cause febrile respiratory illness, asthma, multiple sclerosis, chronic arthritis, arthralgia, myalgia, polyneuritis, encephalitis, encephalopathy, subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, Guillain-Barré syndrome, acute disseminated encephalomyelitis, transverse myelitis, febrile convulsions, afebrile convulsions or seizures, ataxia, polyneuritis, polyneuropathy, ocular palsies, paresthesia, diabetes, anaphylactic shock, anaphylactic reactions, angioneurotic edema, autoimmune diseases, autism, serious eye infection or loss of vision, severe rash, encephalitis, which is severe brain reaction, which can lead to permanent brain damage, severe infection, I'm nearly finished, beginning at the vaccination site, death, hypersensitivity, panniculitis, atypical measles, fever, syncope, headache, dizziness, malaise, irritability, vasculitis, pancreatitis, diarrhea, vomiting, peritonitis, nausea, thrombocytopenia, purpura, regional lymphadenopathy, leukocytis, and aseptic meningitis. Now that is a partial list of the side effects of the MMR vaccine, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. Side effects. Would you put that in your body?
No!
Would you put it in the body of your children? No! Soon, you will not be able to work, go to university, go to school, get a driver's license, go to the supermarket, or step outside your home without being fully vaccinated. It's already happening. It's happening in Victoria. It's happening in Western Australia. In addition, while we are in lockdown, the Australian government is escalating the rollout of 5G, which is totally unsafe, a dangerous technology which has never been safely tested. Australia, it's time for us to rebel. We do not consent. Self-isolation, social distancing, tracking apps. We do not consent to 5G being installed in mass while we're in lockdown. We do not consent to being injected with mandatory and coercive, untested poisonous vaccines and microchips and nanobots. We vote no confidence in this fascist, tyrannical, treasonous government destroying our lives, our livelihood, and our country over a false pandemic based on a false disease and associated false tests. And I'll remind you of the president of Tanzania who tested this and got positives on pawpaws. They got it on goats and they got it on birds. It's a false test, ladies and gentlemen. Stand down. Stand down, idiotic Australian government, and be accountable for your failure to uphold the Australian Constitution, your deceit, your treason, and your crimes you are committing against all Australians.
Thank you. Now, I'll just see if there's some more speakers, but I just want to ask a question. One thing people can do to hold them to account is to become a Commonwealth public official.
Cool.
I'm hoping there's a few here. We don't go advertising it out there, but it's to keep everyone else in check that they abide by the law. We have powers in the Constitution.
We have powers in the Federal Criminal Code Act 95 and in the Crimes Act 1914. Now we can hold everyone else to account and be knowledgeable. And we're not out to make enemies. We want to have the rule of law, not this fake rule of law or other things that can be arbitrarily passed down. How can you have a federal cabinet with private corporation members in there making decisions for us? Who gave them the right? Who gave the Parliament the right to stand down where they can't be held to account? And if you look at the Royal Commissions, and that's a funny word with the Queen removed, but I'll use it for the sake of your knowledge, we have Commissioner Ashton, subject to a possible criminal investigation. We have Simon Overland, we have Christine Nixon, and it hasn't even gone political yet. That's over the Lawyer X. But how can you have a Royal Commission with the Queen removed? That's just a front to fool people. When we see the Crown on things, you've got to understand it's in the detail. The devil's in the detail. Now, one other point I'll make. The government in their campaign, I don't know what's the TV. I watch the TV to find out how much bullshit they say, not what they tell me to be the truth. They use the word, now listen, draconian measures. Now, if you understand Latin or Greek, draconian, I'll break the word down. Draco, it means the dragon. And in the Bible, the dragon represents Satan. Yes. You can't separate it. So when they say draconian, they proclaim, it sounds like a tough word, but what does it mean? We need to be educated, not informed. Be educated, not informed. That's the freedom. And a freedom is a state of mind. If you want to be locked down, and that's a prison term, you know, how can you be locked down? No, I don't lock my door. I live on a farm. You never do it anyway, doesn't matter what's going on. Your lockdown is in your mind. We all take a risk. We all take a risk being here today to stand for our rights and to stand for those that don't understand and to stand for those who might come against us to pressure us. We're not standing just for me personally. You wouldn't be here and put yourself at risk, physical risk or anything else, or reputations. Right. I don't care. I'm a Christian. So my job is to stand and to speak for the underdog that doesn't know how to stand. And that's our duty. And I use scripture in documents, and I'm on Facebook. Everyone probably sees me on there. I put the scripture relevant to where we are in this point of time. And if I was to do nothing and stay silent, as in the scripture, bad things happen because good men do nothing. So the Bible also says no one. The Bible says no one is good, only Jesus. So I'm covered by Him. That's my salvation, and that's my protection. And I don't care. I'm not denominational. I don't even go to church. But even to stop people going to church, if they choose to, you can't go and congregate. You can't go and play golf. That's what they say, right? But you can get an abortion. You can go to the horse races. That's to confuse people. Yeah, you can do all that. You can stand in a queue at Bunnings or wherever. You know. So now I'm not judging anybody. I'm saying everyone has a right to do those things which are lawful. In an instant, suddenly things became unlawful. No consultation without evidence. Now we people to stand and protect our rights in law. We are assembling in law. Yeah. This is a lawful assembly. It doesn't matter about whether you're in breach of a regulation or a directive. That is not law. You cannot be prosecuted under that. So those who will get a fine. Anyway, I've probably spoken too much, but I'm happy to talk more. Jackie, is anyone else?
Anna Von Rights. Can everyone please get this to Anna Von Rights? I'm Dar Anna. I wrote you and you replied in one of your emails to 300 million people. Anna, I've heard your messages, but they've blocked me on social media. And so I've got a heap of information of what's taking place here in Melbourne and the DDT and other things that they're about to release. Because what happens is Victoria now is Vic Police, and they're just corporations that sell us to each other. And for everything we've said here, we've made many mistakes, and all of us do. But all law is in Latin. So if we don't actually say it in Latin and we don't go through that, which I'm still going through Black's Law's Dictionary, the 7th, which is the deluxe edition, and you need to source that for the real truth, because the truth is a lie, everything's a lie. And the whole thing is like, we have to all love, but get this, G, that's sus, because G sus is also, if you go back to a very interesting time in a place where a long time ago when my father died, some very important information will come forward that shows you that we've been here in Australia for a lot longer than what you actually believe. The churches were made sometime in the 1500s, and some other people I know that can validate that. But Anavon writes, so this woman here who's made an announcement, I have all the information, and I've also, so I'm holding you Mayor, Lord Mayor, she's the Chief Justice at the moment. Okay. So you don't really understand because the government's not gone, it's lawyers and bar members, and they actually have no right over us because rights, we be right in what we be. Human rights is not, don't go. And the United Nations is also complicit. The United Nations are also complicit. So all that information is now stored and given. So Anavon writes, who now, because us means us, Australia and America, USA, like we are all one people, one sun, one land, we're all the same. Doesn't matter. Gateshead's a criminal, but they're all bar members. The bar and the law, because they do this, so don't use anything. We don't have laws, we don't need to operate in any of their systems. We're man and woman. Don't be anything other than that. When the police come up to you, I have no respect for the police at all. Because you walk up to me and what you say is, hello man, or what's my name? My name means Noman. So you're actually acting in deceit. So all you police officers who come up and offer me a contract, because offer, sir, it's 2 words. Offer, sir. Do you realise that? So they're a walking contract. So whether they know it or not, which I say they do, I say they're complicit, and they're in crimes against the living us. Don't be anything other than, and there's so much for us to research, but it's all in Latin, remember. So if we perform in their acts, we have to use Latin. If we don't use Latin, we consent, and a consent means you're going for them, right? So when you're saying no consent, that means yes. So don't chant that, because then they'll put that on the media tonight. And these ridiculous, and they're sick at best, who are in many of the buildings here, and a lot of them moved up to the top of Paran. For if you have a very careful look at what's happening with the station down apprenticeship at Port Authority, so I'm a structural steel fabricator, and you don't make a frame structure like that unless you're not prepared for what's coming. And so they've had some clearance divers and a lot of military.
What do you say instead of no consent?
I'm just thinking, so don't say consent. Man, woe man. What a woe man is a woman, right? And a man with a womb. So W-O means womb. That's why when I see a girl like, whoa, what a man, what a man. So they're just joking with us and they play with us. So all I've got to say is that we are aware, and Anavon writes, let Anavon writes know that I have sent her the information. So anything they do from this day forward, that'll be taken in the United Nations. And in the courts that you've set up, I have information that'll prove that you're going to kill a lot of us this weekend. And they're going to do it with, they've brought in a heap of stuff called DDT, and they're going to pump it out, and they've set it up around the city. And there's a heap of places here, so it's happening, so be very careful.
I'll just say one thing. That affects our environment, and it's been going for years. And if you look up, rather than look at your app or on your screen, you'll see unusual cloud and formations, and that's chemtrails. You can never get an answer. Hey? It's a weather modification. We talk about climate change. They're deliberately and engineering climate change. And also, what's in those chemtrails? If you delve deeply, you'll see. But you won't get any response from any government agency. I'll use government very loosely. I'll use the word administration, because that's what we are. We're a bankrupt nation. We have to sell ourselves to and be a prostitute to other countries. And I don't want to sound racist, but one particular country. How can we sell, and there's no disclosure or transparency, our land, a product of our land, without us being dealt with first? And you look at all the territory all around the country, Western Australia. How can you have an internal border? Are we Western Australians or Australians? If I live in Victoria, I want to go into state. Am I an Australian first or a Victorian? Australian. That's right. If you've got Centrelink, is Centrelink Victorian Centrelink? Yeah.
Freedom of choice. No corporations registered in Washington.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to bring a bit of calmness, because I know you're extremely passionate, and we've covered just about every topic that we're being lied to about. I'm here to inform you about what are your options. In Australia, we now have been formed the common law courts, and they are backed internationally. Common law courts are the people, for the people, of the people. No lawyers, no solicitors, no corrupt system. They are now being established in Australia. I'm the chairman of the Victorian Committee, and there are other members here. And we can show you how to free yourself from this draconian system. You have a lawful remedy. If you have a claim against someone, not a government, a person, you claim against the person. And they have to stand before a jury of your peers. The people standing around here get to make the decisions and to decide what the punishment will be. These are being established in over 108 countries at the moment. And we have the full backing and support of the headquarters in the UK, who have been responsible for bringing down Pope Benedict, bringing down 7 judges in the UK, because the power always has been with the people. But because of their deceit and because of our ignorance and apathy, we let go of our power. It is now time for us to unite as a people, no matter what colour your skin is, no matter what colour your background is, no matter what colour your country come from, to unite under the banner of common law, which is the only law of the land. There is no other law of the land. The other law that they call is the law of the sea, maritime law. SEE, the Vatican law. It's all contract law. So there's our common law and there's contract law. Don't contract. Simple as that. If you want more information, there are people around from the common law court here, or come and see myself. If you give us your email, we will send you information on how to set yourself free from the draconian system.
Thank you. Just to, I'll be quick, guys. I just want to draw your attention to the corruption of the stay-at-home directions, what the police are fining people over and trying to restrict you over. It is a null and void document. The reason it's a null and void document, it doesn't pass the maximums of law. When a document contains conflicting information, especially a legal one, which the stay-at-home directions does, it is null and void and not enforceable. Plus also directions do not override the Constitution. We have a Constitution in this country, so tyrants cannot get into law like Daniel Andrews. Tyrants cannot get into law and just write whatever they like, especially these laws, this new COVID omnibus. Did you realise the COVID omnibus that Daniel Andrews has enforced on us goes through to the end of October? Did you know that?
He's under investigation.
He's under more investigation than you can poke a stick at. He's guilty of, now, just back to that. He is a traitor. Just back to that. That is not a lawful document. Do not get intimidated by the media or the message that Daniel Andrews sends you. Daniel Andrews is guilty of breaching Section 2.2 of the Australia Act, where you cannot, a state cannot have any relations with a foreign country. He signed us up to the Belt and Rail deal with the Chinese Communist Party. He has committed an act of treason.
Sell out!
Should I go back to the red shirts fiasco of last year, where he siphoned taxpayers' money to fund his election campaign and got a slap on the wrist by the Governor General, no doubt his mate? Should I go back to when his wife ran over and badly injured the teenage cyclist and no breath test was done on the spot? And when the father tried to get freedom of information, Andrews got the police commissioner at the time to deny the release of bail. I could go on. He also ordered the commissioner to cover up the rape allegations against Bill Shorten. He is an evil, wicked, disgusting human being, and he is not fit to lead this state. I'll just finish up. We are not calling for lawlessness. We need law. We need law and order, but fair law and order. Not run by tyrants. Exactly. So, what now?
What's the next step? This is the first of many. The first step is to get Daniel Andrews arrested and held accountable. Police, do your job. The job you sign an oath to. We need protection, and it's from Daniel Andrews. That's the first step. Also, I implore you, Daniel Andrews has stopped you seeing your mothers at a nursing care facility today, unless you've got a vaccination. Disgraceful. So what's the next step? Okay, we have to start waking people up, your friends that laugh at you. Alert them to these facts. Show them links to things. Who am I going to trust? You, the people who love you, and love them, or the lying media? The choice is pretty clear, isn't it? Don't forget, what's that, brother? I love all you guys, and we are passionate people. Thank you so much for turning up today and lending a voice, but this is just the beginning.
For those that have come in today, and if you found out about it through the Facebook media, for the regular channels, keep your eyes on those same ones, because we are taking action. We have an application already, we got it here up. I'm just trying to work out how we can get people to sign it. And it co-joins Daniel Andrews to the grand jury charge of treason. We have the document there, you only have to put your name to it. It's already filed in the court, but the courts have suppressed this being prosecuted, and as a result, when they do that, they're concealing it. And that is called misprision of treason. Get used to that word. Even when the police hear this, like now, and when they do nothing, the job, even in the section 80.1 of the Criminal Code Act, it says to report treason to a constable. Even a commissioner is a constable. So they hear, I've been to the police stations many times and given them documents, and they say, what am I going to do? I've done my job in law. I've reported this. So now you have to do it, but they're following their orders from higher up, and it's beyond police command. It's to do with something else much, much deeper. So we need to kind of all go to the stations, not just on your own, get the information, it's all out there, and just keep to the normal channels on Facebook, and you can get the knowledge and go in, and you can make the police do their job. We're not against the police, we want them to do their job.
Yeah, we do. We do, thank you, Jim. My name's Mark. I was born in the Royal Women's Hospital down here, which they've moved. I just want to say I'm disgusted with what's happened to my town. A lot of us were born here. A lot of us have to put up with some stuff through history, but this is got to be the last, doesn't it? This has to be the final time we stand up. My name is Mark. I'm a living, breathing human. I want you all to suddenly shout out your own Christian name. 1, 2, 3. Repeat after me. I am a living, breathing human. I just want you to know, greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. God will protect us from any pandemic, not a friggin' Bluetooth app. Soul, I've made friends with, hey, they never, just the other day, 3 days ago, said, Mark, write me a song. So I'm going to do a song. We need to chill out, all right? But this is something God gave me 3 days ago. It's called Great South Land, your time is at hand. Our time is at hand, people. No more mucking around. This is God's country. And I'm telling you right now, we're under Judeo-Christian law in reality, and we live by that, don't we? This is that song. This is for you. I do this with a love from my heart, but also a love from God. Okay, a bit excited. Here it is. Might see on YouTube soon. Great South Land. Put your hands together. Touch each other. Yeah, come on. We stand up. We don't slow down. When tyranny is all around. In the cities and every town. bring them to you today. But us stupid, we need to call.
David, say hello. Where's Panos? I haven't seen it. Okay.
Another tower, I don't consent. While you devour every freedom you take away. When it's illegal, abuse the power. Put your hands together. It's our plan. It's our hand. We are the rhythm. Shake our man. We are the people who have the power. This is now. This is the end. Where's that plane? Bring it out. It's our time. Big finish, come on! It's time's at hand. We won't let them take power. We are the people who this is the
What's that? What's going on? Let's stay calm. What's going on?
They just picked up a guy, man.
Why?
You know, the guy that was really nice.
They just picked up the guy that was really nice talking. And they planned it apparently. Sorry, honey. What's going on? Wow. Oi! Here you go, Panos.
We're not here for anything bad, man. We're here because we care about everyone.